This character was born of me wanting to do a Shadow Blade build, and I quickly realized basically Shadow Blade is going to fit with our blade singing wizards only. Warlocks can get it, but it's not a pact weapon, so you can't get multi-attack with it. Sorcerers can get it, but you can't get multi-attack with it. So really quickly, I realized if I want to do a Shadow Blade build that isn't a blade singer, I need a multi-class. And that's really what birthed this character. This character is going to be a really unique blend of being a tank and a hard hitter, but as well as a roguelike. It's almost like you mix this roguelike sneaky person, but instead of them running away after they ambush you, they're freaking plated and they look terrifying and they can kill you. But it's mixing like this knight flavor with this rogue flavor, which is a really unique blend. So how do we pull it off? Well, first off, I want to be an Earth Genasi. Earth Genasi is going to help us do those two things. It's going to let us be more tanky with bonus action Blade Ward, but it's also going to let us be more stealthy by being able to use Pass Without Trace. So it hits both notes we're looking for perfectly, as well as giving us some dark vision on top of it. Starting off, we're going to want to pick up Fighter 1. Con saves is the #1 reason we're doing this. We're also going to pick up Dueling, which is eventually going to make our Shadow Blade do extra damage, but for now, we can take a shield and a sword and be a really solid level 1 character. Our next 3 levels are going to be going into Warlock. Now, we go into Warlock to get Shadow Blade. Obviously, we're going to need to take 3 levels, but we have to compare why Warlock over Sorcerer, because Sorcerer can do the same thing. We really want to be casting 2 spells primarily, Shadow Blade and Pass Without Trace. By going Warlock, we get 2 second level spells per short rest. We might be able to get 6 of those castings versus a Sorcerer who can only get 2. So it's just more efficient. Yeah, we get more first level spells, but we don't really care about first level spells that much. We want more second level spells, and Warlock is better for that. On top of it, early Warlock slaps. We're going to get Eldritch Blast, which is a fantastic cantrip, and it's going to give us some ranged options. I also want to pick up Eldritch Mind. We're going to be in melee, and we're going to be using Shadow Blade, so we really want to have strong concentration. Eldritch Mind combined with proficiency in our Constitution save is a great way to do that. I'm also going to be picking up our Pact of the Tome. It's going to give us Control Flame, which is a really fun cantrip for stealth characters. That's the main reason I'm doing it, honestly. But we can also get other cool cantrips, and we are going to be pretty cantrip heavy. We definitely want Booming Blade and Green Flame Blade. Because we are taking 3 levels in Warlock, we're going to get our multi-attack slower by having Booming Blade scale at level 5 or Green Flame Blade scale at level 5. It helps us keep up with our counterparts who have multi-attack. It doesn't quite do it completely, but it does help buffer the fact that we are getting multi-attack at level 8. As far as our second invocation goes, Devil Sight is definitely an option to give us that 60 feet of extra dark vision, which is very important for a stealth character. But there's also an argument for Agonizing Blast to make us more dangerous at range, because we're not always going to be in melee. At level 5, we're going back to Fighter. We're going to be taking Fighter for the rest of the game. I really want to go into Rune Knight here. What Rune Knight does that people kind of miss, I think when people think about Rune Knight, they think about a beast of a grappler, which is true. But Rune Knights are also roguelikes. They get expertise in Thieves' Tools. They get advantage on sleight of hand and deception checks. Like, that is roguelike stuff. So we're definitely want to be picking up Fire Rune, not only because Fire Rune has an amazing effect, but because it gives us expertise in Thieves' Tools. We're also going to want the Cloud Rune. Again, fantastic effect, but it gives us that advantage in sleight of hand and deception checks, 2 things a rogue loves. Let's talk about growing big. So growing big, that's not really what we're about. We're not trying to be a grappler build, which is what growing big is about, but it does let us increase our damage. And this is a moment where I kind of want to talk about our flavor. So with Rune Knights, I think about tattoos, these runes that we get on our skin. And I like the idea of every time we level up, we're putting on new tattoos to use our features. So when I think about this growing big, instead of us growing big, I like the idea of like shadow energy coming out of us. Think Susanoo from Naruto Sasuke, and our sword, you know, gets more dangerous and more shadowy, and we have like a tattoo that glows to make that happen. But I would use that glowing tattoo for a lot more things. You know, when we're using our chains from the Fire Rune, glowing tattoo. When we're using our Cloud Rune, glowing tattoo. But even like Warlock spells, even in those levels where we're not taking the Rune Knight, I'm still doing this tattoo thing to keep that flavor consistent. Once we hit level 7 as a Rune Knight, we're going to be able to get some new runes. And I think we have a lot of options here that we could take. Storm, Hill, and Stone all stand out to me as perfectly viable. Storm, I think, is going to be the best. So that's probably the one you want to take if you want to be efficient. But I think Stone's actually pretty cool flavor-wise. Again, kind of looking back at Sasuke, Stone gives us 120 feet of dark vision. And if we're taking Stone this early, I might not take Devil Sight. I'd probably lean away from Devil Sight, but I like the idea that's all vision-based. So it's like the Sharingan, because we have the effect that we look at them and they get stunned, so we put them in Genjutsu. And it also makes us see further, and also gives us advantage on insight checks. Again, that all reads to me as like an eye-based thing, so I'd have that rune be on at least one of my eyes. I just think that's cool flavor. So anyways, if I'm being efficient, Storm Rune. If I'm being flavorful, I'm thinking Stone Rune. You may have noticed that I didn't give us a subclass for the Warlock, and that's because you can really take whatever you want. Personally, I like taking the Jin. We are a Genasi, after all, so there is some connection there. And also, it's just going to increase our damage output by a little bit. Plus, we get this cool little token that we can jump into and out of. So what are we at this point? Have we reached that promise that I gave you guys at the beginning? Well, we're going to have a shield and we're going to have breastplate, so we're going to be at 18 AC. So we have solid AC. We're going to have a Shadow Blade with multi-attack that does bonus damage if we go big. It does bonus damage damage because we've gone the Pact the Gen. So we're gonna be hitting like a damn truck, and we're still gonna be able to get ambushes with Pass Without Trace, and we enable our whole party to do it with us. If we get an ambush off, that's like action surge for the whole team. Plus we have action surge. By being a later level Rune Knight, we can also protect our allies, so we kind of become this tanky rogue. It's really badass. A lot of cool flavor with it too. So this character hits a lot of beats that I'm excited it hits. So there's a lot of things I like. What's our weakness? Wisdom saves is our big weakness here. We have to go into Dex heavily, we have to go into Constitution heavily, and we have to go into Charisma at least a bit. And that leaves us vulnerable to those wisdom saves. So I might actually not go too deep into Charisma, probably 14, to allow us to put a couple extra points into our wisdom saves just to try and buffer that weakness a bit. Now this has been my take on a Shadow Blade build that isn't a Blade Singer. I'd love to hear your guys' take on the same build. I also wanted to hear what you guys think about the flavor I came up with for this character. I was pretty excited about it. Anyways, let me know in the comments down below. I hope you have yourselves an amazing day. You guys are fantastic, lovely people, and I'll catch you on the next one. Later.